It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
Hello, this is Raziel Cohen with ndftraining.com, and today we're going to be speaking about the TR2 respirator. Did you know that we offer online training courses? Everything from basic fundamentals to use of a firearm. Whether you're new to shooting or have background and experience, there's always something valuable for you. Check out the link in the description or the pinned comment for more information. So what this respirator is, before we get into it, is we need to understand what the point and why this respirator was invented. This is not a respirator that's designed for chemical warfare or anything of like very extreme use, but it is a very important thing for the average shooter that they might not realize they need. If you're someone who frequents the range, and you should be frequenting the range to make sure you're training properly, something you might not know is actually a very significant issue is lead poisoning. Now, for me, I've been going to the range for obviously quite a long time, and especially if you use indoor ranges, you might not know that there are certain policies in regards to how often they need to change the filters inside the range. And if you're wondering why they might need filters, the issue is going to be because of lead. So every range has certain protocols. It may depend on the state to state in regards to regulations of how often and how dangerous the environment of the range needs to be before they switch out the filters to make sure that all the lead is being filtered out. So the first thing might be very interesting to know how often your range changes the filters, and also to make sure that you're able to get proper ventilation. Now, again, at some point of the month, whether that be monthly, but whether that be weekly, depending on the range you go to, it might be a while before they actually switch out filters. That's a problem because if you're breathing in high amounts of lead, you could tell very quickly why that could be an issue. Now, what this company realized is that they have a lot of law enforcement officers and military members who are involved in shoot houses or just trained with thousands and thousands of rounds, and they're not getting proper coverage for their face, so they're just training with nothing. So they came together and they realized, how could we make a minimalistic and effective setup for operators, law enforcement members, as well as also civilians to be able to use that will give them some form of protection when it comes to lead. Again, this is not going to be about any kind of chemicals or tear gas or anything like that. This is meant to reduce the amount of lead intake that you're going to be having in your body. So once this package came to me, it came in a really nice handy case. And the first thing you'll notice is how compact it is, because I'm able to have the respirator itself with up to 6 additional filters inside the mask that will allow me to keep switching out if need be. Now, they do last quite a while, and you really want to make sure to stay on top of changing them when necessary, but you're able to have 6 additional filters inside the actual case itself, so you're able to bring it to the range. Along with that, they do also have quite a lot of accessories. So we're trying to go through as much information here as possible so I can make sure I'm covering everything as needed. So the first thing in regards to accessories that I'll tell you is the additional filters. So you could buy those filters separately and be able to keep up with those accessories. Along with that, they also have a helmet rail strap where you're able to replace the straps that are currently here and attach it to kind of like your ops core helmet or any kind of actual dedicated ballistic helmet or bump helmet. So it's not going to interfere with anything else that you might be having on. So you're still able to run this with a helmet on without it interfering with any of the systems you might be running. Besides for that, there's going to be this smaller area on the bottom that you might look at and be kind of confused of what the design is for. But this little area over here is able to unscrew, and it's very tightly fit. I believe that it is rated for IP67 waterproof, which means that no dust or debris is going to really be able to get into it. But then once you pop it out, there's a hole over there that inside that hole, you're able to attach this, which is another accessory that they have, which is a microphone. So if you're going to be running comms, if you're a part of a team that's going to be running comms, it comes with this microphone that's able to attach to the actual respirator, and it goes back and attaches into your Peltor headsets. So this is the adapter with the Peltor plugs, and again, what it does is that it keeps the whole system minimalistic as possible while still being able to maintain all the uses of the respirator. This respirator, the comm setup is reversible, so whether you want it to be on your right or left side, it still does work perfectly fine. The other thing to point out is that if you're going to be using this on a rifle, the minimal profile design of this setup really doesn't block you too much when it comes to being able to get a proper cheek weld. Now, that might not sound like a big deal, but any gas mask or actual full face respirator I've used, even if they say that it makes it easier to be able to run, which some of them actually do, it makes it easier, but that's the key word. It's easier, but still not great. So the way you're going to be bending your head or adjusting the gun to make it function the way you want is going to be difficult. This is almost completely not there because it really fits to your face and doesn't allow that to be a problem. So I actually went through shoot house with this. We did it dry just to make sure that everything was functioning properly. And I was able to see how it does really fit nice and snug. Now, an additional feature, the reason why this mask was actually very interesting to me is because a part of their claim to fame is that it does work with people that have facial hair. As you know, the majority of gas masks that you're going to wear are not rated or incapable of stopping tear gas or other chemical agents from getting into your face because beards will interfere with that seal and not allow it to seal properly. Since this is primarily dealing with lead, obviously the risk is going to be lower than anything like tear gas or something on those levels, but also it still has a very, very flexible kind of rubber where it kind of forms to the type of face that you have, allowing it to still work. A part of the way that works is that this like head is obviously smaller than a regular size head, but the mask is going to fit at the bottom of your chin, so just above the bottom of your chin, and it goes over your nose. So it's not interfering with the bottom of your chin where all your beard might have like built up or it's like started going down your head. But since it's going above your chin, but like just below your lip and above your nose, it's actually using the smaller part of your face that might not have as much facial hair, allowing you to get a proper seal. And again, since this is not meant for like chemical warfare, the idea is that it's still actually allowing it to be a very effective way of getting protection while not damaging the risk of having an open exposed area. So the way that the filters work is actually very cool. There's the front area over here that you pretty much pinch and pull out. And then once you do that, the filter is able to pop right out. And you can see that here, there's the filter right over here. And that filter again is able to be replaced. And then again, a simple click and it goes right back in place. So it's a very, very, very simple setup. The head strap that comes included is able to go to the top of your head and the bottom of your neck. What I noticed was I went to the range just to try it out in like different configurations. And you really want to make sure that it's on before you go into the range. It might sound odd, but because you're going to have your headset on and because you might have your glasses on, you want to make sure that it get a proper fitment before you walk in. Now, when you're speaking regularly, you are having a cover over your face, so your voice won't be perfectly clear. But it's still better than, again, some respirators I've used where since it's a full face seal, it's really, really much harder to hear what a person is saying. They do have vent holes on the right and left side of the mask, which helps reduce the amount of fogging. I did have fogging, but it could also depend on the type of glasses you're wearing and the way that you're making sure you get a proper seal. But I did have a little bit of fogging when I was using it. So I'm just going to reach out to them to make sure the fitment on my end was correct. Besides for that, it was able to work again with the pistol and with the rifle. I had no issues with that. I have had respirators that I've used where if you're going to be performing a reload, since the like filter cartridges and things are sticking out so far, you could actually whack your hand into the respirator because that's like your area of where you're going to reload. And obviously this is very minimalistic, so I definitely didn't have that problem. I think this is something very interesting to be able to check out. Again, if you're going to be going to the range a lot, having proper protection for your breathing is obviously very important. And I think it's something that's not often spoken about in the firearms community because it is very, very dangerous. If you ever go to a range, by the way, and ask the people that work at a counter how often they switch out, they're generally supposed to have a rule. Again, it might depend state to state, where people that are working at the counter and people that are working as RSOs will either switch or work in different departments just to make sure that they don't get to a point of lead poisoning. So lead poisoning is a very real thing. It's a very scary thing. And it's important that you protect yourself in the best way possible. So if you have any questions on this, if you'd like to see more testing with this, you're definitely going to see this more in videos that are coming out in the future because I want to be able to implement more breathing apparatuses that will help me with my lead intake. And especially as a firearms instructor where I might be shooting more than the average person, it's definitely something I need to be very careful about. So if you have any questions, if you'd like to see some of this stuff tested, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. This is Raziel Cohen with ndftraining.com. Thank you for watching.